What's up, everybody? It's Tuesday, so you know we're talking all things men's hoops, a little bit of women's hoops action when it comes to the ACC. We've got JJ Jackson in the building. And of course, the Blue Devils will see the Pine on Tuesday night. They are playing Florida State. Carolina gets to play Miami. And then we'll also talk about Syracuse, there it is, playing Clemson. Look forward to having that discussion, as well as the new era of Duke women's basketball. JJ's got the inside scoop, so let's get him in the building and let's talk about it.
You are Locked On ACC, your daily podcast on the Atlantic Coast Conference. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to today's edition of Locked On ACC. Thank you so much for joining us. We are going to stumble through all openings today, and that's going to be right on fine because we're just, trickling through the weekend. I had a little snow action, a little ice over here, so everything has been a little slow. But JJ Jackson for Locked On Blue Devils is in the building. Today's episode is brought to you by Sonos. Experience the game like never before with the Sonos Arc, the premium smart soundboard for TV, music, movies, gaming, and more. Visit Sonos.com to learn more. JJ, happy Tuesday, my friend.
Happy Tuesday, Candace. Excited to be back with you here on Locked On ACC. It's always my favorite part of the week when we get a chance to chop it up and talk about everything going on in the Atlantic Coast Conference. Let's get to it.
Okay, so we got some men's hoops happening tonight. Of course, Carolina is traveling to Miami, and let's start with the fact that these two teams are not in the top 25. Not really understanding it, but Duke is the lone ACC school in the top 25. Do you feel like North Carolina and Miami, or even a Wake Forest, should get and we know we got votes, but even squeak in there? What are your thoughts, especially because you are the guy that's sitting at the top of the charts?
Yeah, no, it's another week that we've now learned that Duke is the only team in the AP poll top 25. There have been a lot of topics about the Associated Press top 25 this week. Mainly they're at the top with Auburn and Gonzaga. Auburn, 11 more first place votes than Gonzaga, and yet the Bulldogs have the top spot because the math works out that way, with Auburn having fewer votes down towards the bottom. In the ACC, though, I do think it's still a crime that only one team is ranked. I said it last week after Miami beat Duke in men's basketball. I said, how in the world are they not one of the top 25 teams in the country? And I still feel that way to this day. I know that Josh Pastner, the Georgia Tech head coach, was reviewing film on North Carolina and said, look, they're a top 10 team in the country. Them and Duke in this league could both make it all the way to the Final Four and win the national championship. And while some people push back on that, I would just say, okay, I think that at least shows you that it is worth conversation that there be other teams in the conference be in the top 25.
Now, listen, Carolina, when they are firing from all cylinders, is absolutely a team that could compete in the Final Four. But you don't know what you're going to get, and that's the problem. Sometimes they are playing to elite levels, and sometimes they just don't show up, and too many are trying to play hero ball. So they're still learning that cohesion, which I think, Duke is one step ahead in terms of the flow and the synergy. So that's something that maybe they're just playing one step behind. But when they figure it out, I think it's really going to be amazing. So I do agree with Pastner there, but I also feel like this is the same guy who said he wants to be like 120 years old. So, you never know what you're going to get. I bet he has great pressers. Say all that to say, but
it does seem entertaining.
Carolina will play Miami, a Miami team that certainly has some great leaders on their squad. They're sitting currently at 13-4. They'll play at 7 on the ACC network. How are we feeling about this matchup? Because we know when it comes to guard play, there are definitely going to be some great matchups here, but also just overall, what will it mean for either team?
Really excited to watch this game, Candace, as you said, tonight at 7 o'clock on the ACC network. It's at Miami, so you would figure that Miami be the team that's favored here, although the ESPN Basketball Power Index gives North Carolina the edge, with the Tar Heels being a 57.9% chance of victory against Miami. I'm a little surprised by that, given how well Miami has played of late and knowing how talented that Miami backcourt is when you've got the likes of Cam McGusty. You've also got Isaiah Wong and then Charlie Moore, who was excellent versus Duke. He had 7 steals in that game. I think the guards for Miami are going to be a big-time problem. I think North Carolina is a really good team, as you said, Candace. They're really going to get a chance to prove it, though, playing a game like this versus Miami. They've got to find a way to win this basketball game tomorrow.
Absolutely. I think, yeah, you've seen a lot of growth between RJ Davis and Caleb Love. I think they're finally coming into their own. RJ, to me, has had the most progress, and even Hubert Davis has echoed those sentiments. But Armando Bacot, he's going to have a big game. All of the times that we've talked about needing that big man to really deliver, he's going to have that great one. And then Brady Manick has been a nice, counterpunch to Armando and how he's, shown up being a grad transfer and really kind of just ease his way into this lineup.
Inside out difference, right? With Bacot playing so close to the basket, averaging nearly 18 points a game to go along with 11 rebounds. But of course, Brady Manick, known for his outside shooting touch from the outside. So yeah, it's a good mixture there in the post for the Tar Heels.
I always say you need one male of the Caucasian persuasion who can shoot behind the arc in order to be a good team.
And North Carolina has it this year.
Yep. Like that's what they've been missing for quite some time now. I understand that we've had some couple people who could maybe do it, but no, Brady is definitely someone I consider to be a guy that I would count on night in and night out. Now, we're talking about all the matchups here on Tuesday night. We know the ACC is full of some great ones. Duke and Florida State, a Florida State team coming off of a big win over the weekend, and now they are feeling themselves over a Duke team who's also coming off of a solid win. We knew they were going to beat State. Let's, keep it honest. But Florida State, don't get caught sleeping at the wheel. We know Miami has done it to, the Duke Blue Devils. Can these Seminoles do the same?
Yeah, Florida State has lost 5 straight games versus Duke, but it has been a tough place to play at the Donald Tucker Center there in Tallahassee. The final time Mike Krzyzewski will go there. They've upset Duke there before when Duke was the number 1 in the country back in 2011. Florida State knocked them off. Derwin Kitchen had a big game. There's a throwback ACC hoops name for all you guys out there. The last time Duke went to Tallahassee, the game ended in a buzzer beater 3-pointer by Cam Reddish to win the game for Duke, with RJ Barrett inbounding the ball to him. That clip has been resurfacing this week as RJ and Cam were reunited when Reddish was traded to the New York Knicks. So I think it's going to be a good game. I think Duke's going to have to play their best, but boy, they've started to figure some things out this past week following their loss to Miami. Really impressive wins at Wake Forest. And then, you talk about NC State. They haven't been great as of late. They're now 9-9 overall on the season. But anytime you're playing in the state, the game means a little bit more. They give you your best shot. And so for Duke to pick up the win was impressive.
Absolutely. And I know since I have you here, I got to talk to Tyler Aki of Locked on Syracuse about it. But, the whole Cam and Reddish, RJ Barrett reunion, we were thinking, maybe New York might be a good place for Zion Williamson. I don't know. Just throwing it out.
Let's make it happen. Bring everybody there for sure. I would love to see that. I just want to see Zion back on the hardwood.
Okay. We were saying he might be in a better fitness atmosphere being in New York, like less opportunities to eat,
for sure,
horrible food that in New Orleans. Like nobody's losing weight in New Orleans. Like if that's the
Zion
issue,
to New York, that's what we need to happen.
He can eat sushi. He can eat lettuce. Like
right,
we can give an opportunity for him to. And Tom Thibodeau would run him to death, so he would.
Yes, he would. He
would lose 60 off the strength. Like exactly.
Yep.
Okay, so we called it here. 2 GMs right here rolling. But yes, absolutely good opportunities. Florida State playing Duke on Tuesday night. Make sure you guys check that game out. It'll be at 9 p.m. on ESPN. Death to 9 p.m. games. I think those are the worst things ever, but that's just my personal opinion. Now, if you guys are looking to get in on the betting action, we strongly encourage you to hit up BetOnline. It remains the number 1 spot for all of the best sports wagering action for 2022. New year and new updated desktop and mobile website to sign up today and receive a 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Just use your promo code Locked On. That's LOCKEDON to get started. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to wager on all of your favorite sports. It's simply where the game starts, from football, basketball, hockey, right to your favorite Vegas casino games. Don't wait to take advantage of all the amazing offers available for 2022. Again, betonline.ag is your source for all of the best wagers of 2022. JJ Jackson of Locked On Blue Devils in the building. And of course, we got some Tuesday matchups coming your way, as we are really excited about a great opportunity to see some good games. We also have Clemson and Syracuse, the 10-7 Clemson Tigers team, coming off of a head-scratching loss against Boston College, one you want to definitely wipe away. Playing Syracuse, a team that is desperate for some wins. They need a chance to, turn things around as they're trying to get to this NCAA tournament. Who needs this win more right now, JJ?
Gosh, I mean, you look at this one, and as you said, it's crazy that we're having to talk about this, Candace, but we're getting further into conference play, and the ACC is a league this season that who would have believed that we would be talking so much about who needs a win like this more. Syracuse, I tell you what, is a team that I've been really high on at certain points throughout the season, and then they go and lose games that they shouldn't, and all of a sudden you're talking about an Orange team that is sub 500. They're 8-9 on the season. And if they don't win against Clemson, Candace, their next game is on Saturday inside Cameron Indoor Stadium versus Duke.
No
yes,
pressure.
They could win that game, but you're putting yourself in a really tough spot having to go on the road and play against Mike Krzyzewski in one of his final matchups against Jim Boeheim. So I think it's Syracuse. I think that Syracuse is in a more desperate need for finding a win.
Now, we talk about the fact that Syracuse gets hot in NCAA tournaments, but hey, if you can't win the games to get there, you have a big problem. So they're going to have to figure things out. But Clemson is a team that definitely stays in games. They have the opportunity to win this matchup because of how, mediocre I feel like Syracuse has been this season. So for them, I think they're looking to get back on track after a loss like Boston College. Again, one that you definitely don't expect to lose.
No, it's got to find a way to get back on track. You're at home against Clemson, which is great. You play the zone defense. That never changes. If you're Syracuse, you always have the opportunity to sort of impose your own play style, given that you're a little unorthodox and committing to the zone 24/7, as Jim Boeheim's teams have been known to be. And then this is a Clemson team that isn't that great, right? They lost a home game to Boston College over the weekend. You got to take advantage of that. Clemson's going to be just as eager to bounce back and get into the win column versus Syracuse. So Syracuse has to be more aggressive.
No doubt about it. Now, I know on Wednesdays, we usually do some football talk let me try that again. On Wednesdays, we usually do football talk with AJ Blacklocks on Boston College. So I want to make sure that we tap into the Wednesday games. I know you guys are going to be looking forward to hearing the commentary. And of course, since we have JJ Jackson, our basketball insider, he is just so good at this. We might as well get you guys hyped for these ones. So Boston College will play a Louisville team that just lost to Pittsburgh. This is why I get frustrated about men's hoops, right? Because Louisville, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
Like, we're not helping our case. Like, we're trying to get people to the tournament. We're trying to get bids, and you're dropping games to teams that you absolutely just cannot afford to lose to. But on the flip side of that, good for Jeff Capel, right? Good for him for having the teams fighting into these matchups and coming in with their heads held high, game in and game out. Despite some wins, some losses, they definitely are still fighting, and I think that's a positive sign for a guy who desperately is trying to keep his job.
Yeah, this matchup's funny, Candace, because it's like a bad loss versus a good win, right? I just talked about how in the world did Boston College just defeat Clemson? Well, they did, and they're coming into this game following that one. If you're Louisville, how do you lose to Pittsburgh, right? And I'm the host of Locked On Blue Devils. We love Jeff Capel. We love all the people all over the place, but you can't lose a game like that to Pitt. So Louisville, I know that that's one of those losses, Candace, that as a basketball fan, and I can only imagine that it's the same thing as a player or a coach on the team. As soon as you lose a bad game, Candace, I don't know about you, but I'm ready to play the next game right away, immediately. No time to celebrate. Let's find a way to correct our mistakes so that we can forget about what just happened, flush it away, and move on. So I know Louisville's going to be eager to play tomorrow night.
And they're absolutely going to take it out on the Boston College Eagles, which is going to be a team that's easy to do that. Now, Virginia Tech, they will be facing NC State on Wednesday at 7 on the ACC network. NC State trying to pick up the pieces as they just desperately need a big man. I know Duanu is having, a decent season, but it's not the same without Manny Bates. However, they have some decent guards. Quavion Smith, De'Aaron Sebron, say that name 3 times fast. He is definitely doing his thing, and the team played very confidently in Cameron. If anything else, I was impressed by how Quavion Smith was like, I'm a freshman, but so what? I'm giving you these buckets, right? Yeah. So can they figure out how to beat this Hokies team who desperately needs to win, as NC State beat them the last time when they were at home, and now they get the opportunity to play in the PNC Arena in Raleigh?
Definitely could. I mean, as you said, they get to be the home team again. Terquavion Smith had 19 points versus Duke at Cameron. Sebron had 16 points, 11 rebounds in the game. So they were productive, just couldn't quite get it done. It sucks for NC State. We just talked about Louisville a moment ago. You lost the game to Pittsburgh, but before that, Louisville lost to NC State. That was a really big momentum win for the Wolfpack. Not only that, they won on the road at Louisville, and they won by 16. So NC State needs to get back to that level of play versus Virginia Tech. I said a moment ago, they're now 500 at 9-9 overall on the season, taking on a 9-7 Virginia Tech team who escaped by Notre Dame over the weekend. So let's see if NC State can bounce back and pick up a big win. And I'm excited to see it play out.
Yeah, and surprisingly enough, NC State has struggled at home, right? They've struggled to win games and defend their territory, I guess you can say, but they've done really well, stepped up in big ways on the road. So can they make this the first one where they're like, listen, I'm trying to make sure that everyone knows that it's scary to play in PNC, but we'll have to definitely see that one. Now we have Wake Forest playing Georgia Tech on ESPNU at 7 p.m. again on Wednesday night's matchups. Wake Forest, a team that Kitten Gibbs on yesterday's show pretty much said that everything starts and stops in terms of bid action for NCAA tournament with Wake Forest. How good they are, how bad they are, because of how well they played against some of the best teams here in our conference, is going to be a testament to how many teams get in based on their level, where their current standings are.
Yeah, Wake Forest had one of the hottest starts to the season. Steve Forbes is someone that I was praising a lot for how well his team had played this season. But now they're just 4-3 in the ACC, taking on a team like Georgia Tech. They've got to find a way to get a win on Wednesday night. It'll be on the road there in Atlanta. But if you're Wake Forest, you just had an impressive road victory versus Virginia. So can you keep that positive momentum going? Also coming off a win versus Syracuse. You had the one blip in the radar getting defeated by Duke when they came to town, but had a 22-point victory over Florida State. This is a Wake Forest team that's been really impressive for the majority of the season. Let's see if they can get back to winning ways.
Yeah, I mean, Alondes Williams and company have just been lights out, in my opinion. And to me, Georgia Tech has just not really had that spark that we were used to seeing, or that dog that we're used to seeing who's ready to and willing to play scrappy and do whatever is needed. This is going to be a great matchup for both, because I think Wake Forest is going in feeling like, all right, this is not the Georgia Tech we're used to, very beatable. And Georgia Tech's going in being like, we got to step our game up in order to beat the Demon Deacons squad. Final game, Virginia and Pittsburgh. Okay, Pittsburgh coming off that win. Virginia coming off some head-scratching losses. I just, I'm so used to having to hype up Virginia. And that's, if we're talking about rivalries here, say that 3 times fast. Virginia is probably my least favorite, just off the strength of being a swimmer. That was our biggest rival. So I'm always fine with Virginia losing, but it's like how they're losing. I'm like, damn, all right, let's fight back, Virginia. What do we have going on? Help me understand this, JJ.
For sure. And you better show some fight against Pittsburgh. I mean, we mentioned the bad losses that teams have had against Pitt. They've won 2 games now in the league. They defeated Boston College, which that's just a miserable basketball game to watch Pitt play Boston College. Are 2 worst in the league. But they lost to Louisville by 3. And then, as we said this past weekend, had the rematch already, played them for the second time, and that's when Pittsburgh was able to defeat them. So almost beat them twice. People forget about that first meeting where Louisville was able to walk away with a 3-point victory. For Virginia, though, you've got to win this game. Absolutely have to do it. I know it's on the road. I know it's going to be in an environment that you're not used to playing in because you only play there every few years, but you've got to find a way to beat Pittsburgh if you're Virginia. You've got to find a way to get it done.
Absolutely. I feel like I never thought I would see the day where we would have NIT conversations about Virginia. It's like the wave.
But here we are.
Here we are, and here we must, I suppose. All right, guys. If you are looking to get right for the new year, you want to get, your fitness on, you want to run a couple miles, you want to lift some weights, I strongly encourage you to add that nutrition part of the full circle, okay? You need Built Bar, the protein bar that tastes like a candy bar, but not really. But it's 100% covered in chocolate, and it's good for you. Up to 130 calories, 4 to 5 grams of sugar, 4 to 5 net carbs, and 17 grams of protein. All delicious, all healthy. Here's an idea for you. Make sure if you are writing down your workouts every day, add a Built Bar to that mix. Make sure you start your workout with that. Or if you're more some type of person who likes to fast a workout and then end with a Built Bar, you can absolutely do that. There's so many flavors to choose from. If you like coconut, peanut butter, raspberry, cookies and cream, salted caramel, even mint brownie, there are so many different flavors for you. And Built Bar is always coming out with new limited time flavors. So check out built.com to see what's new. I'm feeling like a Valentine's Built Bar. is on the way. I don't know what kind of love they might put in that one, but I'm sure it'll be extra tasty. Go to built.com, use promo code LOCKED15, get 15% off your order by using promo code LOCKED15 at built.com. JJ Jackson, Candace Cooper in the building, wrapping up today's show. Make sure you guys check out Locked On ACC on Twitter. You can follow JJ as well, all his content on the Locked On Blue Devils podcast, available anywhere you listen to podcasts. Thank you for making us your first and second listen each and every day. JJ, I know we don't get a lot to talk about women's basketball very often, but of course, they're the ones that are truly holding it down when it comes to top 25, when it comes to hoops. And so we saw some really good matchups that we talked about on Monday's show. Make sure you guys go back and take a listen. But we saw the Duke women who are figuring things out. They are definitely figuring things out. They fell to number 21 in the rankings, and now they have to go play Miami. And I would love to get your thoughts on the Kara Lawson era, because we talked about, Wes Moore yesterday and how he's pretty much established who he is. They're going to have to win a Final Four or better in order for NC State's season to mean something. We talked about, Coach Banghart, and, of course, Kenton said that the books were cooked over there. But then when it comes to Duke, feeling like there's a lot of good pieces. It's just a matter of giving it time. How is it, the murmurs or what's going on, rumors? We know the local expert here. We have you. Would love to get your thoughts on Kara and the girls.
Yeah, really thrilled with what they've been able to do. They found themselves in some tough games here to open up ACC play. As you mentioned, losing a tough one to NC State, who's a really talented team so far this season. Over the weekend, Duke's now 2-3 on the year, but 11-4 overall in the non-conference. And it's funny, leading into this, you said the Blue Devils fell to number 21 from 16. That's amazing that Duke was even in this position at all this season. Yeah. It is just the second year that Kara Lawson has been there, and really the first, Candace, because I remind people that last season, Duke finished the year with a 3-1 record.
Yeah.
3-1. They played 4 games, Candace, before they stopped playing competition because Duke kind of saw themselves out through the COVID-19 pandemic. So not a whole lot of playing time on the floor with Coach Kara Lawson. Shayday Wilson has been an amazing freshman for Duke. She's had several games where she finishes like 8 of 10 shooting from the 3-point line. From the 80%.
There we go.
Like Steph Curry on steroids. This girl, Shayday Wilson, what she's been able to do. So it's a really young team. They're a whole lot of fun to watch. They've got a fun game coming up versus Miami, a game that was originally postponed due to COVID-19. So I'm going to be tuned in to seeing what Duke can get done moving forward. And this has been a really fun women's basketball season so far in the ACC.
So essentially, you're telling us don't panic. Give Kara some time.
Give her some time. No need to panic.
No doubt. If you are catching, again, some Tuesday matchups, Virginia plays Virginia Tech, and Clemson will play Florida State for the women's matchups there. We have so many good teams coming down the pipe for this, what should be a good stretch of basketball. Very important games, especially for the men's side. Again, as we're saying, we're talking about people clawing for bids. We know that it's going to be more than one, but hopefully it's more than 3 here. I would love to know your thoughts as we wrap up. Who do you feel like right now confidently is going to the NCAA tournament for the men's side?
Oh, for the men's side. Wow.
Yes.
Going back to men's. Confidently, the Duke Blue Devils will be in the NCAA tournament. I feel pretty good saying that. I think Miami finds themselves in the NCAA tournament if they keep playing at this level that they're at right now. North Carolina, I do think, has earned enough and will, by the end of the year, have earned enough to be there. So that's 3 teams right there. I think the number can get as high as 5, Candace, for the ACC. But I think those final 2 teams is going to be a mixture of Wake Forest. If they could continue to play this well, I think that they'll be up there. Always, you're going to have the person that rebuttals with, well, whoever wins the ACC tournament, of course, they're going to get the automatic bid. They're going to get the opportunity to be there. But also Florida State. I think Florida State could start to figure some things out at 4-2. This was a team that we thought would finish second in the league in preseason polls and that sort of thing. I think they're starting to figure some things out. So those would be sort of the 5 teams right now to be on the lookout for.
Sure, and I would add to a bubble team at Notre Dame, only because of beating North Carolina. That's the only reason, because as well as Carolina does the good losses, bad win, whatever you call that, it rides at the tide with that. So I feel like Notre Dame, they have to keep winning, though. That's very clutch. They do. Keep winning.
They do. They of course, played Howard on yesterday, on Martin Luther King Day, only won that game by 3, which wasn't the best. But you won. At least you didn't lose, because you look at the NCAA tournament, you look at bad
Yeah.
losses. That would have been one of them, losing the
Mhm.
game to Howard, but they were able to pick up a 3-point victory, which was great for Notre Dame.
100%. JJ, always a pleasure to have you on the show. Thank you
Yeah.
so much for taking the time. Can you please remind these folks where they can find you, follow your work?
Locked On Blue Devils each and every day, talking all things Duke athletics. Follow me on Twitter at _JJ_Jackson_ and the show's on Twitter at LO_Blue Devils. Candace Cooper, you are the absolute best. I'll talk to you next week.
No doubt. Thank you, JJ. Again, if you guys are looking to bet, I mentioned BetOnline at the top of the show, but you can also follow Locked On Bets podcast with your boy Q and Lee Sterling. They give you the Locked On Bet of the day. And more importantly, you can find them anywhere you listen to podcasts after you make them your third listen of the day. We got these first listen, second, and third listens rolling here. Follow at Locked On ACC on Twitter. Subscribe on YouTube. Let us know how you feel. Leave us 5-star review. We always appreciate it. For Candace Cooper, JJ Jackson. Until next time.